How's it going, guys? It's Eclipse here, and today we're going to be thinking about some of the things that I would really like to see come into World of Tanks console. Obviously, some suggestions to Wargaming as to what they can implement to make the game a little bit better for everyone. I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below, so make sure to leave them down there, and hopefully we can really give some good kind of things that we'd like to see in the game. Obviously, I did a video a while back on some suggestions and stuff and finding out what you guys thought. And I thought, it's good to kind of develop these ideas. I think a lot of those were actually fixed in the time between then and this video. There are still quite a few things that I'd like and that need continual fixing. But definitely there's a list of probably 7 or 8 things I've kind of highlighted. Obviously there's loads more that could come into the game, but these are just a few things that I thought might be useful. Now, what's the first thing I would like to see is definitely some more maps. I think that's the key thing, and also changing the map rotation a little bit, because I find that Port at tier 10 and Mines at tier 10 are just 2 maps that really probably shouldn't be at tier 10. They're very, very awkward for a lot of different tank types. So certain tank types are just way more prevalent and prominent on those maps than any other map in the game, at tier 10 at least, which makes it really unfair if you're in something that just doesn't suit the map whatsoever. I don't think that adding those 2 maps back into rotation at tier 10, from 8 to 10, was a good idea, to be honest. I know that they wanted to increase the amount of maps that we had at tier 10 and from tier 8 upwards, but really, realistically, doing that is not a good idea for me personally, because it's just not enjoyable. Adding 2 in maps that we just don't enjoy is not something that I would ever want, really, to be honest. I mean, what would I kind of hope? I'm hoping that on a regular basis we'll be getting new maps back. I'm hoping that the time that they took between updating the first couple of maps, they're going to have like a schedule where they'll be releasing more. We don't know yet what they're planning, to be honest with you, and that's been the case for many years. We don't really have an idea as to what the devs are working on, other than in the first week before they release anything. It would be nice to kind of know what their thoughts are on the maps and the scheduling that they're going to release the maps on, because I think that would be really handy for most of the players to be like, right, I have to deal with the current map rotation for X amount of weeks. I'm going to come back and play harder when the maps get released, because I'll enjoy the game a little bit more. And so I can plan when I'm going to be playing the game, rather than just kind of getting a bit bored and then not knowing what's going to happen, and then just leaving the game and just, getting disinterest with it. So that's what I think would be really handy for players, is just bringing back regular intervals maps. Then it would be much better for the player base, in my opinion. I also think that the tutorial systems in the game need to get better. Having some sort of tutorial system where new players can have various different things happen would make the game just infinitely better, and instantly better too. I think it's kind of difficult for players to gauge how to get better. I think it's very hard. The game isn't easy to get into, and I think that when you've got current games, a lot of them are very easy to get into, so you really do need to make that new player experience easier. I know that all of these ops where you can get up to the highest tiers are good for the newer players, and it's not the most efficient way, though, in terms of getting them into the game and learning the game and stuff like that. I think some more emphasis on crew skills, guides and stuff like that in-game that really tell you the guides that you should probably be having, like the perks and the equipment that is really useful. So maybe even having some sort of assistant that says, if that is not necessarily so specific, but say if you pick a light tank, it would recommend you using advanced optics or something like that, just so that they get an idea as to what the tank role is and how you should be playing it. Like, oh, I'm in a light tank, it's recommending me to use optics, it's recommending me to use clutch braking on my skills, it's recommending me to use camo and concealment. So maybe I should use it in a camo and concealment environment. And that's what I kind of would like to see in the game. Just some more things that kind of recommend good ideas for people to pick on their crews and equipment, because I feel like a lot of players get severely hindered by just not having the right setup. I know I've done a few little guides for different tanks, but not everyone goes on YouTube. Not everyone's, gonna spend the time searching up how to get better. I mean, it should just really be in there from the start. I'd also like to see some maybe longer and harder operations or assignments. So, we get like the standard assignments where they're like, deal 100,000 damage, and they're pretty boring in my opinion. Like, it's not very specific, it doesn't require much thought. I could just play the game and get 100,000 silver, 100,000 damage even, and then you get, 500,000 silver. I just feel like it's not really wanting me to progress, get better, just try hard, play the game a lot better, get to learn the game a bit more. I feel like if you had maybe specific challenges where you've got the easy, medium, hard challenges, and you get rewarded with, say, a tier 5 or a tier 6 for completing the easy challenge, and then you get a tier 7 for the medium, and then a tier 8 for the hard. And then if you had like the elite one where it's really hard and it's really difficult to do, then maybe you get rewarded a tier 10. It would make the game a lot better for players that maybe play a little more. And kind of rewarding those players for playing more is always good, because it keeps them on the game, keeps them happy, and they're going to continue playing the game. As well as the newer players being like, I really want to get that in at some point. So they're working towards, getting that elite tier reward system done. They might not be able to necessarily, because, some of the challenges might be like block 7,000 damage in one game, and so it's kind of a bit of RNG based as to whether you're going to bounce that many shots in one game. But it would be nice to kind of have that sort of thing, like personal missions. Am I saying 7,000 damage should be the number? No, it's just an example. So something where it's fairly hard and it's not going to happen every game, but also it's something that is hard enough that, or easy enough that you don't have to play thousands of games to be able to complete it. I think that would be really good for both new and old, and even people that have been playing for maybe a year, just to be able to, test themselves, get better, kind of think about what they're doing, play certain tanks that they necessarily wouldn't want to complete the challenge, or not that they wouldn't want to, but tanks that they don't usually play. So it would be really interesting to see how players adapt and play different tanks and have a bit more of a variety in the matchmaker. Don't make them specific to a nation. So say I have to deal 5,000 damage in one game with a German tank, and everyone's going to go, right, TD's German, let's all play TD's German. I mean, like, block 10,000 damage in one game. I mean, it's a ridiculous number. That's not what's going to be the challenge or whatever. But then people will be like, right, I can use maybe the E100, or I could use something like a Jaegeru. Like, it gives you a bit of chance to use different tanks. So like heavily armored tanks that you can angle and you can bounce shots and stuff like that. So using the Maus and stuff like that, where you don't tend to see them that often because they're not that competitive, but for completing the challenge, they're the best tank. So, yeah, I think it would be interesting to have that. I also think, additionally, the +1, -1 matchmaking should probably be standard now. I think you've seen the benefits that it can have in terms of keeping new players. I've found lots of the community have said that they actually prefer it, that, it's 100% better for them. I'm in the mind that I definitely prefer +1, -1, because it just makes it a lot more fair for everyone in game, because you're not meeting those +2 where it's just, if someone YOLOs me in a tier 8 and I'm in a tier 6, what am I actually realistically going to do? I mean, even if they're a competent player and I'm in a pretty overpowered tier 6, there's nothing I can do realistically. I might be able to punish them to a point where it wasn't worth it, but at the end of the day, my game's been completely ruined because of it. So I definitely think +1, -1 is a good way to go. It keeps the players happy. keeps new players, not being absolutely obliterated by 2 tiers higher of players that, maybe a bit more competent than them. Then yeah, I think that definitely +1, -1 is a good way to go as standard, and then maybe have weekends where it's +2 for those players that want to, or maybe have a specific matchmaker, because I think the main problem that they had when they wanted to first implement +1, -1 is that the battle queues would be longer, but to be honest, I've not noticed a difference in the +1, -1 really. So yeah, I think that having that as a standard one is really going to be more than fine, and I'd be happy to wait an extra 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds to be able to have constant +1, -1. And it means that you can play tiers that, aren't that bad. Like, I can play tier 7s now without having to meet Object 777's version 2 when I'm in my Tiger, where I'm getting whacked for 440 and I'm bouncing off them for, nothing. So I think that, that sort of thing should definitely be in the game. As for some more suggestions, I'm thinking like more community events, where I know in other games, it will be like, as a whole community, deal 10 million damage as a total, and then everyone's kind of working towards it, and you've got a month to do it or whatever. I mean, that's probably quite easy for World of Tanks, but it would be a challenge that would be somewhat testing of the community. And then, at different stages, the community unlocks a reward. So anyone that has contributed will receive this reward. When you reach 1 million damage as a total, you might get some repair kits or something. And then you reach 3 million or 2.5 million and you get some more. And then you reach 5 million. And then when you reach the 10 million, you might get a tier 6 premium, or something like that. I think that having those sort of events, or even specific rewards that are just different, so having a skin or having some sort of camo that is only available from that challenge and you will never get it again, would be really interesting. Or like, you will only ever get it from that kind of challenge, so it might come out multiple times a year and that's the only time you can get that camouflage. So I think that sort of thing would be really interesting, and it would push the people to play a bit more, and it gets the community together. It gives us something to do when you've gone past season level 100, you've done all of the extra challenges, you just get a little bit bored on the game, and it just gives that something extra, because I think there's so much you could do with the ops and the challenges that really do interact with the community, get them playing your game, get them keep on playing your game, because when I reach level 100 on the season pass and I've got the ×2 XP, I've got the extra silver bonus, I've got everything else, it just becomes a bit boring, the game. Like, I haven't got anything to go towards, I haven't got any contracts to play. It's just a case of I'm grinding down tank lines at super fast rate, because you get ×2 XP, and then you've got all of these XP bonus ops, and you've got all of the silver coming in, and it's just like I can go from 1 to tier 10 in like probably a week of solid playing, probably playing 3 hours a day. I don't necessarily play 3 hours a day, to be honest with you, but if I was playing 3 hours a day, I could get a tier 10 within that time. And I think that having something extra is just always good, and I would like to see that in the game. Having some more game modes would also be interesting to see, where you can maybe choose your game mode that you want to play. I know that obviously impacts the matchmaker, and it would be probably reduce the time or increase the time it would take to get into a game. But I hate the logic where you say, well, why can't I turn off assault mode, or why can't I turn off encounter? Oh well, and then the reply is, oh well, it would mean that the matchmaker would take a lot longer for players that are searching for encounter. And it's like, well, if no one's playing encounter and assault because they don't want to play encounter and assault, maybe that just tells you that the game mode is probably not the best one, and maybe you should reduce the amount that it actually happens in game, or at least just give us the option to take it out, and that would be handy in terms of giving the players what they want. Obviously, you'd have to test it, see what the community say. I mean, if the vast majority of the community say they actually don't mind it, then go ahead. But I just don't feel like we've had that question asked from wargaming to us, so I think that would be interesting to see what you think, and I might do even a poll later on today to ask what you guys think about Encounter and Assault and the extra game modes on World of Tanks, and then kind of see what I see from myself. It might be that you guys actually really enjoy them and that I'm just the one that doesn't enjoy them, but we'll see that soon. One kind of final thing that I'd really like to see is actually development of the clan system. I feel like clans are a bit stagnant. Yeah, you can join up with your friends and you can have a little clan tag on your name, but there's not much further to that at the moment. I mean, they used to have clan wars, and they have clan specific events where they just basically show who's got the best clan on World of Tanks. Due to like damage or XP or whatever average, but I just feel like they need a bit more. So maybe if they had some clan specific stuff, where if you join, it shouldn't be overpowered, or you shouldn't get something massive, because some players don't want to join a clan and they shouldn't be negatively impacted from that. But it should be to the point where if you are in a clan and you're engaging with other players, and you should be rewarded for that, because it's taking time. You're platooning with your platoon mates for a goal, and I think that would be really good for everyone involved. And it's not harming anyone to give out rewards for stuff like that. I think they don't have to necessarily be premium tanks, but if you gave out certain clan wars rewards like camos, like I said, they don't have to be premium tanks where you're giving out so many premium tanks that from different things that you're impacting your own sales of premium tanks, because remember, it's a business at the end of the day. But if it's stuff that is like camos or emblems, or just like flags, or even just stuff that is not really that impactful on anyone's gameplay, like it would just be nice to have that. Maybe you give a skin to a tank, or you get a random roll on the skins or something like that. So you get a specific Clan Wars loot box type thing that you can only get from Clan Wars, you can't purchase, and in that box you get either a skin for a tank, you might have the chance to get a premium tank if you really want to put it in there. But yeah, I would like to see that as soon as possible, to be honest, and that sort of thing developed in the game. I think there could be definitely a massive potential for this game on console, and I'd like to see it progress. Obviously, I'm a content creator, I don't want the game to die. There's a lot of negativity at the moment, but I definitely want to see it thrive, and I think that is actually possible in the current state that it is in. Obviously, I want to hear your guys' opinions, and the video's coming to an end now, so I kind of want to wrap this up and just kind of conglomerate everything, and I hope you guys did enjoy it. Make sure you leave your comments, because I really do want to see them. I want to see what you think of the things I've listed, and kind of what sort of things that you would really like to see in World of Tanks console. Both as new players, I want to hear everyone's opinion. Like the video if you did. Obviously you can subscribe to keep up with content and the discussions that we have and setups and guides and stuff, but feel free to do that. Obviously you don't need to, just watching the videos is good enough for me. If you want to check out some other videos, they should be on screen right now, so you can do that whenever you like. Other than that, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Goodbye.